Snow didn't stick at all in a lot of places. It's lightly sprinkling rain at the moment. Let's see if I can find a dry area or not. And what did I read today? How about this one? It seems like India's really trying to get ahead, I guess, in a drone tech race. This one says, drone player Aeroarc ties up with US robotics company. Aeroarc partners with Ghost Robotics India, securing funding from ACSL Japan to expand India's supply chain for robotics and unmanned systems. The joint venture will focus on local production, product development, and talent acquisition. Leading Indian drone player Aeroarc has tied up with a US robotics major and also secured funding from one of Japan's biggest drone companies. The JV with Philadelphia-based Ghost Robotics, which is a supplier to US Army, will make all-terrain robots in India and produce robotics for both the domestic and international markets. Aeroarc has also secured funding from ACSL, Japan's largest drone manufacturer, which is investing in expanding India's supply chain for robotics and unmanned systems. I've heard both of them in recent times. Again, maybe these would be new players, probably not so much for consumer, but more for commercial and I guess military applications and all that. It says, in an undisclosed but substantial investment, the JV Ghost Robotics India will focus on local production, product development, and talent acquisition from the region. Arjun Aragwal, Aeroarc MD and Director of Ghost Robotics India said, the JV will see technology transfer from the original equipment manufacturer. In alignment with Make in India initiative, up to 70% of robotic components will be produced locally to offer customized solutions for sectors like healthcare, defense, and industrial automation. Saying, quote here, ACSL Japan recently concluded a fundraising round of 1.3 billion yen earmarked for overseas investments, including India. ACSL's initial investment of Rs 40 crore of Aeroarc aims to bolster the Indian supply chain for robotics and unmanned systems. So those are two major players, I guess, that will potentially rise up as other countries try to get ahead. It makes you wonder too, in places like here in Canada, it seems like the focus is more on over-the-top regulations, stop people from flying them and so forth, no real innovation. Are we just going to be left behind where we're going to be dependent on other countries because they're actually, let's just say, trying to move forward with manufacturing and all that with drones? And I thought this sounded interesting. Apparently, I guess this humongous thing is going to be launched into space and people are wondering why. It says here, X-37B, the Pentagon's small spacecraft, is shrouded in mystery and whispers. The Pentagon's X-37B, an unmanned drone, is gearing up for a mission that is set to launch today at 8:14 p.m. Eastern Time. The small spacecraft is less than 30 feet in length and under 10 feet in height. It has a pair of compact wings and a rounded, bulldog-like nose. Often to compare to a miniature space shuttle, the purpose and capabilities of the X-37B remain shrouded in mystery. Is it a covert weapon, a stealth technology, or something else? These questions linger as the Pentagon maintains its silence. And it says, for the first time, the X-37B will be launched on SpaceX's powerful Falcon Heavy rockets. This shift to a more potent launcher hints at a potential higher orbit speculation that is supported by recent documents. However, the exact nature of the purpose of its higher orbit activities remain undisclosed. SpaceX secured the $130 million contract for the launch back in 2018. So that is the question. Is this going to be used, for example, military weapon purposes? Is it used for research? It says here, one thing that is known about X-37B's mission is that the vehicle will expose plant seeds to the harsh radiation environment of long-duration spaceflight in an experiment for NASA. The X-37B, built by Boeing, has previously been used to test cutting-edge technologies like a small solar panel for transforming solar energy into microwaves, a concept that could enable space-to-Earth energy transmission. The spacecraft has also deployed small satellites, but their purposes remain undisclosed. I guess that's an example too. Is it to help them, I guess, in war purposes as well? Because they talk about things, for example, there's China's plan, I guess, to go up in space and all that with their own hardware. So is this a way for people, different countries to try to dominate, I guess, the space real estate before everyone else as well. But it'll be interesting to see what's happening with this in the end. And the last story I read, which was kind of interesting, where apparently in the area just further north, they've discovered there's a bunch of oranges being dumped, I guess, for waste, and they're wondering why, because it seems like it's, I guess, perfectly edible. It says here, truckloads of oranges dumped at North Vancouver Waste Center. A mountain of ripe mandarin oranges. In her 30 years going to the North Vancouver dump gardener, Sonia Reves has never seen anything like it. 3 days later, she returned to find another mountain, and then another on her next visit, and then another. Reves assumed there must be something wrong with the oranges. Either they were rotten, were infected with listeria, or had some other defect. Eventually, she tried one. Would you dare to do that? It says, they were delicious, she said. They're completely edible. They look fantastic. And Rivas wasn't the only one who thought so. Other gardeners had made a habit of filling their bags with oranges when a new shipment arrived. So I guess it's good for them, I guess, to get free food, but the question is still, why is it being thrown away? It says here, she started to ask around about why the fruit was being dumped, and she was told by a transfer station employee that they had ripened too early for the holiday season, so the food broker was getting rid of them. Can you imagine that? Just throwing away all that food, and that raises the debate, is that the proper way to handle it? I know in some countries, I think they make it illegal or something like that for, I guess, places like supermarkets to just throw them away. I believe one of the legal reasons why they have to do it is because, let's just say you gave it away in that case where there's something potentially wrong with it or something like that, then you could get sued, like if people eat it. So that's one factor. But either way, that's a huge waste, isn't it? There has to be a better way, especially with so many people who could benefit from like free food and all that too. All right, see you guys later.